What's up, guys? So I wanted to bring something a little different. I'm gonna give you guys some Jason, or I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play as Jason, but I will be playing Friday the 13th later. I'm gonna post that after I record this video. I just wanted to go over my top 3 Jasons, the 3 Jasons that I think are the best. I haven't played with there's only one Jason that I haven't played as, but I don't really have to play as him to know that he's one of the best, you know what I mean? So the top 3, I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. Part 6, I think he's one of the best. Part 7 and Part 9. Now we're going to go to Part 6. Now the reason this guy is really good is because mainly he's really good for beginners, you know, because he does have the increased sense duration and range and the increased shift regeneration speed. So I think that this Jason is really great for locating and catching counselors. That's his main focus, you know. He does have the decreased morph regeneration speed, but morph already regenerates kind of quick, so although it does regenerate a little slower, it's not much of an issue. So the main thing is his decreased health points and block chance. That's like the main thing right there. But you know, I don't really even try to block as Jason. I don't even know how to block really, so I don't even really care about that. And he cannot run which ever since I've started using Part 7 Jason, that Jason, he cannot run, and I have noticed that it's kind of annoying when a counselor will be limping and I'm sitting there speed walking like I'm on the way to the bathroom, like I have to take a shit. It's really hard to catch them, where as if I could run, it would have been a lot easier. So I'll admit the not being able to run is kind of annoying, but you know, you can deal with it. It makes up for it with the increased sense duration and the increased shift regeneration speed. So, and also the throwing knives are very useful. Use your throwing knives, man. Even if your aim is trash, just go ahead and use them. I use them a lot, especially when the main thing I like to do is like I don't know, I'll morph over to a section of the map and I'll hurt a counselor, I injure them and they're limping, and you just throw the throwing knife right in their back and finish them off. That's one of the best ways to do it right there. So this Jason, his main focus is using his sense duration and range to locate counselors, and then using the shift to actually catch them. With these two things increased, he's like, this is like a double whammy right here. That's what I like to call it, a double whammy. He's really good at locating and catching counselors. That's his main focus right there. And the increased, you starting the match equipped with throwing knives, that's great right there, because when you spawn in at first, there's 2 throwing knives in your home. So you start off with like a ton of throwing knives right there. So that's extremely useful. And I think this Jason is really good for beginners. So once you unlock him, go ahead and start using him. I don't use him, like I said. I use Part 7 Jason, man, because I haven't unlocked Part 9. I'm going to start using him as soon as I unlock him. But Part 7 Jason, why aren't my executions? What's going on here, man? Ah, the update must have taken all the executions off. There was an update for Friday the 13th. I just got it. So Part 7 Jason, he has increased sense duration and range, increased or faster movement underwater, and he has increased grip strength. Now the faster movement underwater, I'll admit, isn't very useful because he's already really quick in water. Jason's already extremely fast underwater, and I don't really find myself using this that often. I haven't really had to chase anybody into the water, so I don't really use this that often. If they were to replace this with another strength, I think this Jason would be the best. But the increased sense duration and range helps me locate counselors. So when I'm using this Jason, like I said in my tips and tricks video for Jason, one of the big things to do is to destroy all of those power generators. And when it's dark, the counselor's fear increases a lot. So with this increased sense duration and range, your main focus wants to be increasing the counselor's fear as much as possible. So setting traps, and when counselors step in traps, that increases their fear. And if you don't morph to their location in time, you should be able to use your sense duration and range to be able to locate them a lot easier, because when counselors are injured, they're more susceptible to fear, which makes them more visible when you're using your senses. So that's very useful right there. So your main focus with this guy should be inducing as much fear as possible so that you can sense counselors wherever they are. Especially, you see, the increased duration doesn't really matter all that much. The increased duration doesn't really matter. What really matters is the increased range. That's where it's at, because then you can see them. They can be across the map and you'll see them. Like that's really great right there. For example, there was one time Tommy Jarvis, he was the last one alive. I was Jason. Tell me why this guy, he was literally like in the lake on a rock in the middle of the lake. I would have never found this guy if I didn't have that increased sense duration. If I didn't have that increased sense range, I would have never found him. I saw him all the way out there on that lake. I'm like, are you kidding? So yes, the increased range is very useful, and the increased duration is good, but you know, it's whatever. And like I said, the water speed, that's I don't really care about that. Grip strength. Now, counselors will have a tougher time breaking free from your grabs when you have this strength, this perk right here. This is very useful because time and time again, I've like grabbed a counselor while we're in the cabin. But don't you know, when there's like furniture around, like the couch, the table, it's hard to find room to perform the execution. So that gives them just enough time to break free from your grab. Or you want to perform a specific execution, like you want to throw them out the window, or you want to put them into the fireplace. In those few seconds you're trying to walk them over to that object, they can break free. But when you have increased grip strength, it's like they're a lot less likely to break free from your grab. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm talking so damn quick. But his weaknesses are he cannot run, which, like I said, that can be kind of a downside because it's really annoying having to chase someone for 3, 4, 5 minutes when they're limping or they're out of stamina and you just can't catch up with them. Like I said, I'm speed walking like I'm on the way to the bathroom, or like I just don't know. I really don't like the fact that he can't run. I didn't think it was that big of a deal before, but it is kind of annoying. But honestly, if you use your strengths wisely, you know, if you use your sense and all that wisely, it shouldn't be a big issue. And he has less traps, which I guess that's a downside. But the only things you really need to place traps next to are the cars, the boat maybe, definitely the fuse box, like I said in my tips video. So the less traps, I haven't really noticed it to be that big of an issue. So it doesn't really bother me that much. I think you still get 5 traps. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I still get 5 traps when I'm using this Jason. So I don't really know how many traps you originally get as Jason. Maybe 7. I'm not sure. But it doesn't bother me much. And then the decreased shift regeneration speed. I'm not going to lie. This is like a big downside. Because let's say you use your shift ability and you catch up to someone, but not completely. They still have a little bit of distance between you and them. Now you have to wait till your shift comes back. But I found a good substitute for that is just using your morph and morph a few yards ahead of yourself, or like a few yards ahead of them, and you'll just spawn like directly in front of them. So that is very useful, just to, you know, decrease that gap, that distance gap that they put themselves, like that they put between you and them. So instead of using your shift all the time, try morphing in front of someone, because morph does regenerate fairly quickly. So don't be afraid to use your morph. And yeah, I think this Jason, his main focus, well, there's really no specific main focus for a Jason. They all operate the same. They just have different strengths and weaknesses. But this Jason's just really good. His increased sense duration and range, and then his increased grip strength, that's like really good right there. But honestly, I think that a good rival for a Jason Part 7 would be Jason Part 6. This Jason's really good. Look at this. Increased sense duration and range. Increased shift regeneration speed. So if you're looking at Part 7 Jason and you're like, he looks kind of cool. He has the chains and then his mask is broken. He looks really badass. You know, just think about it like Part 6 Jason may be like a better substitute. Like, honestly, the only thing that's really the issue is the defense, and he can't run, which Part 7 can't run either. But I don't know, Part 6 and Part 7 are kind of like head-to-head right there. I'd give the edge to Part 6 because he has increased, not just increased sense, just as Part 7 does, but he also has the increased shift regeneration speed. That's very useful. And like I said, this is a great Jason for beginners, but not just beginners, pros too. Like, I wouldn't mind playing this Part 6. I might go back to him just to try this increased shift and this increased shift regeneration speed out. But yeah, I think Part 6 might be a little better than Part 7, to be honest with you. But they're both great Jasons. So next, Part 9. Now, like I said, I have not played as Part 9 Jason. I really want to so badly. Level 31 can't come quick enough. But look at this guy. Increased shift regeneration speed. He has increased stun resistance. So duration and chance to be stunned by a counselor is lower. And he has increased stock duration. Now we're going to talk about these strengths real quick. Now here's another double whammy right here. Shift and stock. I do use these not as often as I should. I should really start using stock a lot more. But one thing I found that's like very, very useful is to activate your stock ability, then shift. Like, once you've already located the counselors using your your sense. Once you've already located the counselors using your sense, then you can use your stock and shift to the counselors, and they won't even hear you coming, because stock it disables your music that counselors hear when you approach. It turns that off so they don't even hear when you're near them. I guess they don't hear the little key, ma, whatever. They don't hear that. They don't hear any of that like crazy intense music that makes me want to like die every time I hear it as a counselor. So yeah, you once you locate them, then activate your stock and use your shift and go towards them, and they won't even be expecting it. I've used this time and time again. Like I said, I should use it more often. I should really start using stock more often, because it is, like, I'm pretty sure it's the most useful perk that you have as Jason, the most useful ability. And then the increased stun resistance. I can only imagine that's extremely useful. I can't tell you how many times I've been smacked in the face with baseball bats, and it's very annoying. And also pay attention, it says duration also of being stunned is lower. So basically, if you get shot with a flare gun, or if you get hit with a baseball bat, you're gonna get up a few seconds quicker than you normally would playing as another Jason who doesn't have the increased stun resistance. So you get hit by a baseball bat, and the counselor's limping away because you injured him or something. You're gonna get up a few seconds quicker, just like that, and you can just resume the chase, and he won't be able to put as much distance between himself and you as he would like to. So that stun resistance, that's very useful. But I have to say that the increased stock duration is probably like the most useful thing on here, along with that increased shift regeneration speed. So that's going to be really great right there. So those are my top 3 Jasons right there. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about a few others. The ones I haven't talked about: Part 2, haven't talked about Part 3, or Part 8. So Part 8. Like, the only thing that I really don't like about this is the increased water speed. Like I said, I feel like it's useless. Jason's already extremely fast underwater. You don't really need this. And I haven't really chased anyone in water yet. So he has decreased sense, cannot run, and decreased grip strength. But before we get to these weaknesses, let's get to these strengths first. So increased speed while breaking down doors. So basically, the way the doors go, if you're trying to break down a locked door in a cabin, it takes you about 6 hits or so. And I haven't played as this guy, but I'd imagine it probably bumps it down to, I don't know, I'd say like 4 or 5, something like that. And that'd be really useful. I really want to try that out a lot. So I can't wait till I unlock this guy. And I'm pretty close to level 20. I think I'm like level 15. And then he has an increased stock duration. Like I said, that's very useful. And now this water speed is just completely useless. I really don't like that. But these 2 strengths right here are useful. And you can use your stock to get close to where
where a counselor may be. Like I said, you can combo that with your shift ability, so you can use shift and then use stalk, or use stalk and use shift to get close, and they won't even hear you coming. That's a great double whammy right there. Now these weaknesses: decreased sense duration and range. So you won't be able to use sense as long as you like, nor will you be able to see as far as you like. So if a counselor's afraid, all they have to do is put a certain amount of distance between you and them before you can't sense them anymore. So that's kind of, that's a real big negative, but you can work through it. If you really want to use this Jason, you can work through it. Like I said, he cannot run. Honestly, not the biggest issue, but it's just annoying when you're trying to catch someone and you're sitting there speed walking, like you're constipated. It's kind of annoying. And then the decreased grip strength. That right there is, like I said, I haven't used this Jason. I haven't used a Jason with decreased grip strength. I don't think I have. But I can only imagine that might be kind of annoying, because if you get in one of those situations, like I said earlier, where you need to get space to perform the execution, like you need to get room, or you're trying to perform a specific execution, like, I don't know, like anything, like throwing them on a tree stump or something, they're going to be able to break free of that grip a lot quicker than they normally would be. I assume, they'd be able to break out like a couple seconds quicker. So that might be kind of annoying, and that could be a big turn off for anyone thinking about using this Jason. But overall, I think this Jason might be pretty decent, and so to overcome this decreased grip strength, you might just want to, just do the regular combat kills. Just hack him to death, You don't always have to get a grab execution every time. So, yeah, you might just have to do that. That can be a good substitution instead of grabbing every counselor you come across. Just, hack and slash him to death. Alright, part 2 Jason. I really think this is a really good Jason. I just don't like the way he looks. He doesn't look like Jason. He just looks like a person with a cloth on his head, really. But he can run, which, like I said, that's a bonus. He starts the match equipped with more traps, and he has increased morph regeneration speed. Now that right there, sorry, I got the hiccups. This right here, the increased amount of traps and the increased morph regeneration speed. Like I said, morph already regenerates really quickly, so because it's the first ability you get, so it regenerates the fastest, I'm pretty sure. So just the fact that this is increased even more is crazy. And like, I haven't used this Jason yet, although I have him unlocked. I haven't used this Jason, but I think I might. So this Jason's main focus, or like the best thing you could do with this guy, place traps everywhere. On the car, place 1 or 2 around the boat. The other car, both of the cars, obviously. Place them on maybe like 1 or 2 of the generators. I'm not sure how many traps he gets. I'm really not. So I don't really know. But just place them wherever you feel like it's useful. If you're trying to trap a counselor or counselors in a cabin, place 1 or 2 traps outside of the windows. Or just like place a trap outside of every single window. And whenever they try to escape throughout the windows, it's over with. Or just place them outside of the door. Anything like that. And also, once you place them to the cars, you're alerted when they step on a trap. You'll see at the bottom left, it'll say like plus 50 trap or whatever. And then you can just morph to wherever to whichever trap they stepped on. So that'd be very useful right there. And I have to say, like, that's very attractive for, not attractive, like, not like that, but like attractive in terms of, it kind of makes me want to use this Jason, because I do rely on traps a lot. You see in my gameplay, I place traps like everywhere. So having more traps would be very useful. And honestly, I'd say like that'd be a good, if I could choose, I would replace this water speed bullcrap with increased traps. That'd be great right there. So yeah, those are his strengths. And like I said, you can use those traps and that morph regeneration speed, make yourself a double whammy. I can't get enough of saying that. Weaknesses: he has decreased shift regeneration speed, which, like I said, that can be kind of annoying. But if you trap him, you won't really have to worry about that. Lower HP and block chance. It's kind of I guess that could be kind of annoying. But who really blocks is Jason? I don't really block anything. I didn't even know I could block. And he's slower in the water, which who really cares, So this guy's weaknesses, I'd say these two really don't matter all that much, Like, the only reason this would matter is if they were trying to kill you, and no one ever really tries to kill Jason. Or they don't really succeed often. So I won't really worry about these two weaknesses. Just pretend they aren't even there, really, honestly. And then this shift. This is the only thing you're really going to be annoyed with. This probably might be the only thing you actually notice as a weakness. So I say this part 2 Jason, he is a rival for my top 3. He's a pretty good one, I'd say. So next to part... Did I talk about part 3? Yeah, I talked about part 8 and part 2. I haven't talked about part 3 yet. So, I'm just going to try to zip through this guy real quick. So he can run. That's a pro. That's a big pro, like I said. Weapon strength and grip strength. Now, this guy is like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is the Jason that you start off with. And rightly so, because this is a good Jason for beginners. Because not all beginners are like great at getting grab kills or grab executions. So what you can do is use that increased weapon strength to damage or injure counselors, and then you can grab them with your increased grip strength. So then it'd definitely be a lot harder for them to break free. But with that increased weapon strength, you don't even have to worry about grabbing the counselors. You can just hack and slash a lot of them to death, especially if there's like a group of like 3 or 4 counselors, which I have come across. You can just start swinging. Just start swinging that axe. Just start swinging it, and you're going to do damage, and someone's going to get injured, and that's going to make them the weakest link out of the group. And you can just hawk them down from there, and then pursue the other counselors later on in the game. So that increased weapon strength, that is very useful, especially for people who aren't that good at Jason, or who are beginning as Jason, or just now starting to play as Jason. Because it is kind of like I have to play like 12 games before I get to be Jason. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, that increased weapon strength, that is a big one. That's very useful. And of course the increased grip strength is extremely useful, because people have broken my grip before. I'm like, just like, how? Like, really, how? I don't know if there's a perk. I'm assuming there probably is a perk for a counselor, to break free from grabs quicker and stuff like that. So yeah, if a counselor has that perk and you have this ability, you might be able to counteract that. But like I said, I'm not sure if that perk's out there, but I'm assuming that perk is probably out there. Like, that'd be a decent perk for a counselor. So, weaknesses. His duration and chance to be stunned by a counselor is higher. That can be extremely... I sound stupid. That can be extremely annoying. Yeah, wow. I don't know. That can be really annoying. So if someone shoots you with a flare gun, or they hit you with a baseball bat, you're going to be down longer, and they have an increased chance of actually hitting you with that baseball bat or with that 2x4 or whatever. That can be really annoying, especially if you're chasing someone down, they turn around and just whack you, and you're sitting on the ground for freaking 10 seconds. I can see how that can get annoying. That can get old. So that might be a big turn off for anyone trying to use this Jason. He has decreased sense duration and range, and then decreased stalk duration. And like I said, these are two of Jason's best abilities right here, and both of those are decreased. So obviously this Jason is good for beginners because of these two abilities. These three, can run. No beginner, if you're just now starting to play as Jason, you want to be able to run, So I recommend this for beginners, but if you're pretty decent at Jason, don't even bother with this guy, really. Because that decreased sense and stock, that's gonna bother you, and especially that increased or decreased stun resistance. So this Jason, great for beginners, but once you start to get better as Jason, go ahead and migrate over to a different Jason, like part 8, part 6, part 9, whoever you want to use. Once you get decent with this guy, move to someone else, because this Jason he's good, but only for beginners. I wouldn't use this guy. I wouldn't use him. And I like to think of myself as a master Jason. So yeah. But there we go, guys. At first I was just gonna go over my top 3 favorite Jasons, or the top 3 best ones, but I ended up going over all the stats. So I might make a video like this for the counselors, but I really don't like playing as counselors. I'm a Jason type of guy, so I'm gonna be trying to bring as much Jason related stuff for this game as I can. But yeah, those are my top 3 favorite Jasons, or top 3 best Jasons, and then I went over really quickly the other Jasons, so you could see who you might want to use, or who's right for you, which Jason you should be using. So Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who you prefer to use. Let me know which Jasons you like, which Jasons you don't like, etc., etc. And yeah, guys, peace out, man. I'll see you guys in the next video.